In our hyper-connected world, a crime scene isn't just a physical space anymore. It's a whole landscape of data, a trail of invisible breadcrumbs we leave behind on our devices. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain and uncover the secret life of that digital evidence.
Okay, so put yourself in this room. You're the investigator, and everything you see, it's a potential witness. That computer on the desk, the cell phone right next to it, heck, even the printer, each one holds a story. The catch is, it's written in a language you can't even see.
And that right there is the central challenge, isn't it? In a room just packed with potential digital clues, where do you even begin? And, more importantly, how do you handle this evidence when a single wrong click could make it vanish forever? Well, that's exactly what we're here to find out.
All right, let's dive in. Our first stop is a principle that's at the very heart of all forensics. And it's just as true for a stray email as it is for, say, a footprint left in the mud.
This is known as Lecard's exchange principle. The basic idea is that every action involves some kind of exchange. So think about it in the digital world. Every website you visit leaves an IP address log. Every photo you take probably embeds location data. Every file you open updates a timestamp. These are the invisible fingerprints that investigators are hunting for.
So that begs the question, what exactly is digital evidence? It's not just any old file. It has to be a digital object, an email, a log file, a photo that contains trustworthy information, something that can either prove or disprove a theory about what happened. It is all about reliability.
And this is what digital evidence looks like at its most basic level. It's literally just a stream of numbers and letters, a complete jumble of raw data that, on its own, means absolutely nothing.
And that's the crucial point, right? This data is totally silent. It's the job of a digital forensic investigator to be its interpreter, to take this raw, meaningless code and somehow reconstruct the story it has to tell. But here's the thing. This isn't like handling a knife or a physical fingerprint. Data is a whole different ballgame. It presents a completely unique set of challenges and honestly operates by a totally different set of rules. Just think about it. Digital data is ephemeral. The information in a computer's RAM, for example, can literally vanish the second you hit the power button. It's also incredibly fragile. A single command can alter a critical timestamp. And unlike a physical object, you can make perfect copies of it, which raises all sorts of tricky questions about what an original even is.
On top of all that, the law makes a really critical distinction here. Was the data created by the computer itself, like a system log that automatically tracks activity? Or was it simply stored on the computer by a person, like a Word document they wrote? Believe it or not, that distinction can completely change how that piece of evidence is treated in court.
And this diagram shows the investigator's job perfectly. They start with this huge universe of digital objects on a device. Through their investigation, they have to narrow that down to just what's relevant, and from there, the forensic analysis figures out what actually counts as evidence. It's all about finding that tiny signal in a massive sea of noise.
So, okay, if this evidence is so fragile and tricky, how in the world do you protect it? Well, the answer is with an incredibly rigorous and methodical process. This is basically how you bag and tag data to make sure its integrity is preserved.
And it all starts with the scientific method. This is not guesswork. Investigators form a hypothesis, a theory of what they think happened, and then they systematically collect and analyze data to see if it supports or contradicts that theory. It's a repeatable, verifiable process, and it's all designed to get to the objective truth.
And that whole process, it's governed by 3 golden rules. Rule number 1, do no harm. Whatever you do, it should never change the original evidence. Rule number 2, document everything. Every single step you take gets recorded. And rule number 3, always maintain a clear chain of custody. Now that chain of custody thing, it's absolutely critical. The best way to think of it is like the evidence's official biography. It's a log that proves without a shadow of a doubt who had the evidence, when they had it, and that it hasn't been tampered with since the second it was collected. And this form right here, this is that diary. Every single line, every signature is a chapter in the evidence's story. Without this unbroken chain, a piece of evidence, no matter how compelling it seems, could be totally worthless in court. Which brings us to our final act. All of this painstaking work, the careful collection, the endless documentation, the deep analysis, it's all for one single purpose: surviving the courtroom. Just look at this diagram. That huge outer circle, that represents all the information available in a case.
But then, legal rules start filtering it down, first to what's relevant, and then finally to that tiny little core of what is actually admissible. That small fraction is the only thing a jury is legally allowed to see.
One of the biggest legal hurdles is the best evidence rule. Now, traditionally, this just means you can't submit a photocopy if the original document is still around. But what does original even mean when you can make 1,000,000 perfect copies of a digital file? Okay, here's probably the simplest way to think about it. The court wants to see the information in its purest, most unaltered form. They want to see the Mona Lisa, not a postcard of it.
Luckily, the law has actually adapted to this. The federal rules of evidence basically say that for digital information, an original can be a printout or any other viewable output just as long as it accurately reflects the data underneath. And honestly, this rule is what makes digital forensics even possible in a courtroom.
So, as we wrap this up, think about this for a second. Every single click, every tap, every message you send, it all leaves a trace, a silent witness. So the real question is, if an investigator had to piece together your digital life, what story would it tell?